Welcome to another edition of Bonus Church. Glad to have you with me on this Lord's Day. And what a great day it is. I'm going to talk to you a bit this morning regarding a finding in Mark chapter 4. Jesus was inviting his disciples to go to the other side of some water, and they took a ship, went across, and then a storm arose in the middle. And that's kind of what I want to deal with this morning. When he said, let us go to the other side, he used the term let us. And let us always means that God's about to create something. He said, let us make man in our image. So God's about to create something here. So there arose a fierce storm. I'm just going to get real quick with you on the story. Gale of wind came, broke over the ship. Everything was going crazy in the ship, except Jesus was sleeping in the middle of the storm. His disciples were awake and afraid. They woke him up and said, don't you care that we perish? I thought it was funny. It wouldn't have been funny if I'd been there, but it was funny just thinking about it. But he got up and didn't he rebuke the wind and said to the sea, shh, hush, be still. And the Bible says, incredibly, the wind died down. It became perfectly calm. One translation said the wind became weary and tired itself out. Then he looked around at the disciples and said, how come you're so afraid? And the disciples looked at one another and said, who is this guy? Even the wind and the sea obey him. I think one of the things we overlook in this story, and it is kind of funny in some ways when you read it from a distance and imagine yourself maybe being in a situation like that, and maybe you are in a situation like that. Maybe you need to get to the other side of an issue today. Uh-oh, now quit preaching with the meddling. Maybe you need to get to the other side of an issue and you don't know how you're going to do it, and you just kind of, well, I don't know. Let me just put it off. I don't know. But the thing we overlook in this verse is apparently the wind and the waves had ears and heard Jesus talk because he addressed it. He rebuked the wind and said to the sea. He talked to the issue. Can I encourage you today to talk to your issue? Start your Lord's Day off by talking to your issue instead of thinking everything bad about your issue. Commit to the get to the get. Commit to get to the other side of your situation. Decide, I'm not going to shut down in this, because every opposition contains a greater opportunity and attraction from the other side. Opposition comes, there's got to be something better. I have to move on. So you're encouraged to move on today. The enemy will try to shut you down, but God's opening you up. He's wanting to give you something good on the other side. You can't maybe see the good just yet. You can imagine all sorts of things, but there is a force within you that's beginning to awaken, because I want to give you hope today on this Lord's Day. Let's get back to hope. Wake up that giant on the inside of you. How are you going to get to the other side? Quick points. Stay focused on the destination, not the storm. Embrace the process you're in. It gets messy in the middle, but it's going to turn out way better than you ever dreamed. You don't have to understand the process. Just learn to embrace the chaos. Because chaos only shows up when a new order is about to emerge. You can see that in the Bible in almost every instance. There was always chaos right before the new order started to emerge. It's that way in your life. And you have to manage this chaos with a renewed mind. You got to establish a new mindset. Got to think like a king, and no more limited imagination. Come on now. You have the mind of Christ. Once you change your mind, you're going to change your behavior. Theologians actually believe that in this story, that the people in the boat, the disciples and Jesus, got to the other side. So he said, let us go to the other side, which meant we're going, we're not turning back. And there was no storm when they left. The storm was sudden, but they got to the other side. Theologians believe that they got to the other side in the same amount of time it would have taken had there been no storm. God has a way of making that all happen. Change happens during crisis. We know that. Crisis of health, you're going to change some activity, try to get better health. Financial crisis, you change some things, get better financial outcomes. Relationship crisis. Every crisis contains a shift and a change because something new needs to emerge. Remember, even the waves and the wind of a storm have ears, and they'll hear your voice and they'll respond to your voice. So be willing to speak to your storm today. I'll remind you, don't go telling your God how big your mountain is. Go to your mountain, tell your mountain how big your God is. Hey, let's have a great Lord's Day. I've kept you a little overtime today. Went 5 minutes, didn't intend to go that long. But God bless you. Remember, even your circumstances has ears to hear. So speak up, whether it's an internal voice that you say it with or an external voice that you say it with. If it's happening in the mind, the internal voice will silence it just like the external will. So let's make it happen. Have a great Lord's Day and enjoy knowing the wind and the waves has ears too. They will hear what you say. God bless you.